Well, it's Dr. Gordon and Brooke coming to you for Facebook Friday Southeastern Fertility. Brooke, you're filling in for Linda.
Yes.
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that they wait every Friday just to see Linda. They don't seem to want to see me. They want to see Linda. So Brooke, who I often refer to now as Red because of her new shiny red locks, which is a natural color. Yes, that's good. But anyway, Linda actually said we was going to work on our theme song.
Oh,
She actually said
no.
it's Facebook Friday, right? And I mean, what do you think? Do you have a theme song we can share with us? No. Sorry. That's all right. Well, that's okay.
We're not different than Linda.
I know. So a couple weeks ago, we had the rescue edition of Facebook Friday talking about possum rescue.
Oh, yeah.
And for some reason, the audio was you just couldn't hear anything. I don't know why. I hope this audio is better.
It should be.
Yeah, but for
it was a little low on
there. It
there.
was very low, yeah. But for possum update, okay, I got an update the other day from our possum rescue person, our possum rehab person, and they are doing quite well. They are growing beautifully, and they actually were joined by 6 other little possums, and they have like a possum posse. Okay, so that's good, and they're doing great. They're doing great. So
They were very cute.
it was a successul rescue. Yes, it's a shame that they don't stay as cute as when they're little. I mean, talk about the reverse of the ugly duckling becoming the beautiful swan. It's like the cute little thing becoming like the weird rat-tailed, bizarro, snout-nosed creature. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Right? They're meant to be that way.
How God made them.
Right, that's exactly. And according to a PBS documentary watch, they said they have unchanged for 60 million years. Which, as we discussed before, I said, seriously? I mean, evolution, that's the best you got? I mean, the possum, no improvements over 60 million years? Like, how about, like, the ability to fly or jump or do something cool? But seriously? I mean, I don't know. I mean, as I said, it seems strange to me that you'd have no improvements on that. That's the pinnacle.
Yeah.
The pinnacle of possumness is what we get today.
Play dead.
Play dead. Emit musk. Right? As John Candy said in the movie Splash, something works, let's stick with it. So I mean, maybe that's the deal. But again, or God made the possum just that way, and there's no reason to improve upon it, right? I mean, really, you say, well, why would you come up with that creature, right? So I don't know. The only North American marsupial, the possum. But we're not here to talk about the possum. So Mark did send out a tweet the other day about me being on Channel 10 and WBIR right here in Knoxville, and it's amazing how many people watch Channel 10. I don't watch network news, I must admit. I just don't. We tend to watch BritBox on Amazon Prime, and I don't know. We just don't watch it. And yet, so many people. I mean, I'm getting my slice of pizza at Jets. Oh, hey, Dr. Gordon, saw you on Channel 10. I went to do HSGs. The folks said, oh, saw you on Channel 10. Call patients. Oh, saw you on Channel 10. So Channel 10 apparently has good viewership. So kudos to Channel 10 for having viewers and for having us on. On the other hand, the whole point was to reassure patients that the decision by the Supreme Court to send Roe v. Wade and the decision on abortion back to the states should not impact IVF, was somehow lost in the entire program. And I don't know exactly why, but the point was, as I talked to Jason Zachary, who co-sponsored the bill in Tennessee, and we talked on the phone, and he said, absolutely, this is not a bill to prevent women who have miscarriages from having a D&C because they've had a miscarriage. This is not a bill to prevent treatment of ectopic pregnancy. And as an IVF provider, it's not a bill that affects you. Clearly defines this is termination is, or abortion is, interrupting a pregnancy in a pregnant woman. He said, in your IVF program, in this IVF lab, is not a pregnant woman. We talked about that, and this is what the ASRM had concluded, no impact on the practice of IVF in the state of Tennessee. And we, as I said, because of how we practice, I said, I don't perceive an issue anyway. We've already told patients we're a no-discard facility. Embryos that are viable will be either transferred or frozen for you to come back and use later. But the point was not making gobs and gobs of embryos, right? Like there are gobs and gobs of possum babies everywhere, right? I mean, and all these rehabbers, right? That's not what we're doing, right? Try to get enough embryos that you have success, but not in excess, right? I mean, that's the whole point,
Right.
right? Don't overshoot. So, and that raised the question. I had another interview that came of it, and it was actually a gal from the West Coast, and she's a freelance science writer. And we talked about it, and I said, well, here's the thing. If you are really afraid that somehow that defining life is starting at conception, which is hard to not define life as starting at conception, because when does life begin if not when the egg and sperm get together, right? I mean, in the laboratory here, it's not like at some point down the road, it's we know it's starting. Now, not all fertilized eggs continue on, not all fertilized eggs implant, but we all started as a fertilized egg, right? So in any case, defining that, I don't have problems deciding that's where life starts. Now, then the issue is to say, okay, that somehow that would preclude IVF by some tortured logic. And I said to this writer, I said, the state of Louisiana since 1986 has had on the books a specific law saying fertilized eggs and IVF, those embryos that are viable, meaning they are not arrested, should not be disposed of in the state of Louisiana. They're either transferred or frozen. Since '86. And I said, where are the IVF practitioners in Louisiana? Why are they not speaking out? I said, well, we've been practicing under this, what is considered to be the absolute worst possible interpretation with that every embryo would somehow have value. If that's the worst interpretation, I say, well, that's what's been going on in Louisiana. Hasn't stopped the IVF programs from working there, from doing things that they're doing. Somehow worked around it. I don't practice in Louisiana, but my point was, then why scare patients into somehow believing that even if you were to interpret it the way Louisiana did in '86 and to write a law, IVF's been going on in Louisiana since that law. And so I'm just saying, it doesn't make any sense to me, right? I mean, why freak patients out when I really don't think it was appropriate to do that? And that's why I just pointed with Channel 10. I said, you are a wonderfully compassionate, kind person, and you care so deeply for the patients and have made some great changes here, including giving people gowns when they have a full bladder and have to go to the bathroom and aren't like in a little paper thing that's shredded, and no one will notice that you're hanging in the all together. And Brooke was like, "That's not good, Dr. Gordon. You need to give them a gown for gosh sakes." And I said, "Well, gowns cost money, Brooke." No. I said, "Yes, that's an excellent idea, Brooke." So I said, right? I said, but to be compassionate, to say these patients are so worried and so worried that somehow that they have to move their embryos. And a couple that I mentioned who called up saying, we read in the Wall Street Journal about people moving their embryos out of states like, I guess, Tennessee that has a trigger law into other states. And we were told by our friends we have to do that. And I said, is it your intention to somehow not use your embryos? And they're like, oh no, we want to use them. I said, is it your intention to destroy them? I said, no, that's the last thing we want. That's why we came to you. I said, then why would you ever move your embryos? He said, because that's what we read. I said, well, no, that's not a correct reading of that. So I think from a compassionate standpoint, to give patients comfort in terms of these things, I just don't see that piece on Channel 10 did any good. I mean, it was sad. It was seemingly, we have a story that we want to tell. Mm-hmm. We're going to call Dr. Gordon. He's going to give us what we want, which is, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. You'll never be able to do IVF. We're going to take that away from you and everything else. And I didn't give that. And then they had to figure out how to use my interview, which didn't really say that, in a way that somehow still left that question open. I don't get it. I don't get it, Brooke. Tell me what I'm missing, Brooke. What am I missing?
I don't know. I've had a lot of patients come to me lately, and even some friends that work in like the labor and delivery or OB world, and everyone seems so terrified about the ectopic.
Yeah.
They think, well, I don't even want to get pregnant now, or risk getting pregnant, or should I get pregnant? Because what if I do have an ectopic, and there's certain things that do increase the risk for that, then I'm not going to be able to save my own life. Not that we would want to have to choose, but an ectopic cannot become a baby.
Right, it can't be. Right, it cannot. It cannot result in a happy outcome for
But
anyone.
I know with like my NEBC patients, that is a big fear of a lot of them, because
not an issue, just not an issue. I think it's quite clear that I don't think that there are unintended consequences of certain laws. I mean, the Wyden bill in 1992, the Fertility Clinic Success Act bill, was meant to protect patients from predatory clinics that had no IVF success and yet were charging $1,000 when they'd never even had a baby. And they thought that was really not appropriate. But then that turned into the creation of league tables where clinics are compared one against the other based upon their success rate, leading to clinics not wanting to do natural cycle IVF, not wanting to do mini-stim IVF, not taking patients who have high FSH or low AMH. I mean, in other words, it resulted in an adverse impact on public health when the intent had been to protect patients and to improve public health. And it had the exact opposite impact. And I think we saw that with prohibition, right, as a social experiment. So I'm just saying that, yes, there are sometimes unintended consequences.
Right.
There are no unintended consequences in terms of patients with ectopic pregnancies not being able to get treatment.
Right.
I mean, I mean, that interpretation makes no sense to me. It doesn't, right? Yeah. And yet, some physician friends and family have contacted me and said, yeah, those Republican governors are going to make you transplant an ectopic back into the uterus. I was like, when has that worked? I mean, who would even
We would
come up?
already be doing it.
I mean, it's just, now there are some things that have left us scratching our heads in the world of reproductive medicine, but that ain't one of them. It's just
I feel
not
like
one.
if that was a thing that could even be possible, it would have already been done.
Yes.
But it's never been
Or
done.
an animal model.
Right.
As Dr. Keenan said, well, let's see the animal model that proves that you can do something, which there is none. So, yeah, I mean, that's just not a thing, okay? It's just not. It's just not a thing. So, in any case, so that's what happens, when you give these interviews and you speak for 45 minutes and you get a 12-second soundbite. I know, that's all right. Well, that's, but see, if only the 12-second soundbite were our joke of the day, right? Right? It's summertime, Mark, right?
It is summertime.
Right? So you love hot dogs, right? You love going to the ballpark and getting hot dogs.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
The joke of the day was, right, what did the Buddhist say to the hot dog vendor?
That
was the best one, right?
It was good. I liked it.
What did the Buddhist say to the hot dog vendor?
One with everything.
I want to be one with everybody. That's right.
That's the worst joke.
It's a very, I guess it's just, I know, you like the, Brooke has a
I-
kind of cruel sense of humor. I don't know, it's just,
You
we're not
know
going to repeat Brooke's jokes that she liked.
Well,
That's okay.
they were funny though.
They were funny, yes. Well, that's all right. That's right. That's okay.
I thought the Buddhist hot dog joke
I
was
thought it was
funny.
very-
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I like that one too. But it's okay. We won't put the other ones on the website. You'll just have to share them with your husband and with your
Yes,
friends.
I'll
So
tell them.
that's right. That's
They'll
right.
like
You
it.
tell them later. Well, that's all we've got for you on Facebook Friday. Brooke, thank you for standing in for
Yeah.
Linda. So I really appreciate you doing that. And for all of you out there who have questions, concerns, we understand. I think Mark has put the ASRM statement up on the website so that you can download, you can look at your states and see exactly how ASRM and their team of attorneys have interpreted this. And I would just, maybe I'm just too much of an optimist. I am reassured. I'm reassured. Speaking with Jason Zachary here as our local representative in the state of Tennessee, I am reassured that they know that what we do here is the antithesis of pursuing a termination of pregnancy, and they understand that. All right. Well, anyway, have a great weekend, and we will see you next Friday on Facebook Friday. Bye.